Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And this is a special podcast for TR Publications and the Cloud Communications Alliance. And I want to welcome Michael and Pavel to our podcast today. Thanks, gentlemen, for coming.
Morning, Doug.
Morning, Doug.
Well, we'll get right to it. You guys have an announcement to make about Spinoco.
Hey, Doug. Nice chatting with you. I just wanted to. We're really excited. We're going to launch the North American offering of Spinoco at the Cloud Communication Alliance. The Spinoco offer is actually one of the, after years and years of being in the unified communications business, something that I found quite compelling. It's really addressing the needs of the very bottom end of the market, the micro business, call it 1 to 20 lines, where most of the UC solutions have been kind of focused on moving up market into enterprise and the complexity of enterprises. We're really trying to help the small business owner better manage their customer interactions, which is their primary kind of challenge. And so what we've done is we've try to cover all of the digital channels, social, messaging, email, all of the voice capabilities, recording, transcribing all of that capabilities in the platform, and really making it easy for the business to manage their customer interactions. So what is the key differentiation we've got? Every interaction creates a ticket. That's kind of the core unit in the system. And then your employees of your small business basically can operate, and those tickets are automatically tagged as a sales inquiry or a problem or a repair or whatever that intent might be. And then that ticket kind of goes through the organization. If you get the ticket inside the organization and you need to contact the customer, the preferred communications channels of that customer. And so it's targeted at micro market, all kind of mobile first capability. And the other thing that we're starting to infuse into that is this idea of capturing knowledge through those interactions. And so that we have this kind of light AI that's kind of building up kind of a CRM model of those customers that you're interacting with. And then finally, also giving the small business owners insight. So you can imagine a small business owner saying, hey, Spinoco, tell me the top 3 reasons why customers contact me over the last week. And then you get some insights that you simply can't get today easily. The solution is the reason why we're launching at CCA, we're going to go to market through the SPs, which have kind of a very unique channel to that small business element. It's a kind of a white label wholesale SaaS model that we're using. So making it really easy for service providers in North America to take advantage of the Spinoco offering. So that's kind of the capabilities, really kind of addressing what we found at True North, working with the Spinoco team, to being a very kind of market segment that was kind of left behind in the whole UCaaS capabilities. So while everybody's going upstream, we're kind of going down and trying to focus. And finally, the last thing I'd say is I like to describe it sometimes as the best of, stealing the best of UC, the best of CC, the best of CRM, and the best of kind of a ticketing Zendesk-y kind of thing, and then putting it all together into a really easy to use solution. So that's kind of the offer that we'll be launching at CCA.
So how does this Spinoco differentiate itself from other cloud-based collaboration customer engagement solutions and platforms?
Yeah, Doug, it's actually, I would say the partially what Mike already mentioned, the way how we basically approach the small business solution is kind of unique, right? So we kind of mix and match all the functionalities. We really focus on the easiness and simplicity. It's really designed with the small business in the mind. And essentially is the mobile first, right? So it doesn't have, we do have a desktop interface for people to interact and do advanced things and configurations and what's not. But primarily the solution has been designed that everybody in the company, everybody in the small business can essentially use it to interact, to make phone calls, to send and receive emails, to perform all the digital channel interactions. And it's, essentially in the palm of your mobile. So the primary mobile interface is what we focus on, and the easiness of the use, particularly for the small business.
So Pavel, are you guys using AI to do that?
Well, we use the AI to help the user or the client in several ways. The generally is not the like AI-ish only application. We really focus that the AI is used responsibly and in the areas where it really help the user rather than being in everywhere. So yes, we use AI to essentially analyze the interactions. So for example, from the calls, we do essentially transcriptions, and these transcriptions are then used or run through AI to have a summaries, to extract the intents, and again in the way that the small business user understand it, right? So as I'm speaking this, if you will explain that to the small business owner, he probably wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. So we just make it simple in the way what Mike said. The tasks are tagged with whether it's sales opportunity, whether it's support ticket, or whether it's just the information for the reservation or anything like that. So that's the way how we use AI. We essentially use AI to capture and understand the interactions for the small business owner.
And in that way, it really basically specifically helps a what we call micro business or an SMB, and we're actually meeting them where they are. It sounds like.
Yeah. In fact, what we did, Dark, is that we essentially took all this enterprise technology, which we have already by working with the enterprise businesses here in the Europe, and we essentially, downsize it to be usable for the small businesses, right? So we have all this, advanced functionalities which you typically find in the UC or CCaaS platforms, and we kind of, just smash them together in the one simple solution and pick up only things which we believe are important for the small business owner and small business users.
And
So,
Doug, I was going to say, I think one of the things that's I think we've really kind of looked at every capability, like as we're going through a SP channel, the capability has to be really simple. Like SPs don't have a bunch of sales engineers to install each 10-person line business, right? So it's got to be really simple, and then it's got to be simple for the end user, training, etc. So as Pavel said, the idea of the AI is to kind of really infuse it, but make it intuitive so that it's not like, oh, there's your AI thing. It really, the system should just work really seamlessly and provide you insights that you normally couldn't get. And then on the SP side, obviously, we're trying to help those SPs bring more value to that end of the market, the micro SME market, have a more sticky offer than just pure, hosted PBX functionality by providing this kind of business, kind of interaction management that's really important.
Guys, small businesses, there's no coordinator, there's no IT manager. So every system, including communications, everything connected, has just been done, by and by. It's not integrated, right? Are you solving that problem? Because that even if the small business owner doesn't know he's frustrated, he's being held up. That's a speed bump for his business and for what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really important concept there, right? Because if you think about one of the reasons we believe why the small business, is essentially having like an troubles, or we call it status quo situation in the small business. You have all those different tools, and they essentially do certain things like doing your emails, doing your ticketing, etc. But for the small business to have, first of all, to own all of them, it's quite costly, because you pay for every single license or user account, everything, and then you obviously don't have this IT guy who will just integrate everything.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why the small business usually don't have all of them, or probably don't use them at all. And that's essentially kind of behind the idea, that we pick the basic functionalities out of those systems, and therefore, because you have it like served like a one package, you don't need integration, right? It's just integrated within the application already, and it's just one user account which you pay for. It's a one simple solution. So that's one of the tricks behind being SMB or small business ready, that you essentially deliver whole package which customer needs, the contact management, task management functionality, the ability to call clients, the ability to send them email, interact over the WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram. That's all in the one single tool.
So, Pavel, I understand we have a demo actually today. We can actually take a look at this.
Yeah, Doc, actually we do. And I kind of prepared for our conversation today a very small sneak peek on the application on Digital Front Office. That's how we call the product. So essentially what you're looking at is the home screen of our mobile application. As I said, the application is mobile first, so the whole solution works on the mobile primarily. And the home screen is essentially where if you just start the application, that's where it will bring you in. And you essentially have kind of it is designed so you can essentially see all your activities which you have to focus on a very simple one screen. So from the top, you see that I'm in this case logged in as the Franklin. That's the name of the person who is logged in. Then below, I have the very simple insights, such as how many open requests I still have, how many closed requests I did today, or perhaps even the new orders that has been received today. And below those insights, I essentially have my task. So these are the task or the ticket concept which Mike explained earlier, where basically you see all those different interactions like chats, mail, or calls, and the tasks are essentially created automatically from those, right? So whether I received an email, my task is created with the attributes of the email subject in. When I receive a call, task is created, and the very same thing happened with the chat. And I can click on any of those tasks and I can see more, right? So for example, when I click on this chat task, I see the sales chat. So likely I will be able to do some business with a customer over here. I see who this task has been assigned to, so who is supposed to work on the chat. In this case, it's me. I can see the due date, so when I should follow up latest with the customer. And I see the customer name there as well. As I mentioned before, it's kind of the task and the actual communications. They are kind of blend together in one single entity. So I can very easily essentially start chatting with the customer. So I only think I have to go to the communication tab over here, and then it's as easy as essentially continue with the interaction, which I see all the history of the interaction with the customer there, and then I can essentially just send message, and that's how essentially you will conduct a chat conversation. In this case, this is messenger conversation I have in front of us. So that's how essentially the blend of the task and the communication works in the digital front office. And to give kind of the context to everything, we do have this concept of the shared address book here. So as the shared address book is essentially like your directory, which you essentially share with everybody in the team. And there are quite valuable things I can do with it. So, for example, I can search for the particular customer there. Let's say search for the Susanna. And when I search for the Susanna, I can just click on her name and I can basically call her. I can send her the text, and I can send her an email, or I can have an access to like more detailed information about Susanna. Such her phone numbers, which again I can text her. I can essentially call her. The same applies for the email or any other more attributes and more information about this particular customer. But what's really interesting and what's kind of the empower, this context concept there is that, for this particular customer, I can essentially have all the interactions with all the team members which they do with this particular customer. So not just mine, but essentially everybody in the team who has been in the touch with sending or calling the customer, making phone calls or sending the text or sending the emails or receiving email from that customer. I essentially am seeing this everything on the one screen, again, in the form of the task. And lastly, the tool is about not just the collaboration with the customers, but also with the team members. So we have this team functionality built in, which is essentially, place where you can see all your team members. I can see the status of those team members on what they are working on, whether they are active for the calls or they are paused. So by these little icons here, I can as well call them, or even I can chat with them, right? So again, the same way like I do with the customers, I can chat with the team members in the same and single app. So, just what I was trying to pass over here is that the application is hopefully, as you see, very simple to use. The blend of the communication, task, and contact is done that, you don't have to think about it. It's just, design that everything logically follows the other steps. And it really allows you to kind of get into control about all your interactions which you have with your customers.
So that was really interesting, and my immediate reaction, Michael, is I'm seeing that it's literally being hubbed off of the phone, which makes sense for the way people work today. But does this sort of replace the CRM that I might be using?
Yeah, I think what we've seen is that generally small businesses, for lots of reasons, don't really invest in CRM. And so we think it's actually a better model where the interactions, instead of asking the small business owner to start entering data and so on, where we let the interactions create knowledge about the customer. So like kind of this idea of kind of a self-organizing CRM, where as those interactions go on, we're learning more, we're getting more what do customers like, dislike, their preferences. And so instead of interacting, and also from a cost perspective, having a separate CRM system. So generally, we don't think a lot of our target customers have CRMs, and we're not looking at kind of integrating with existing ones for that reason.
And it may be almost like at the gym that you never go to. That at some point, a lot of these people have likely attempted to try to use a CRM because they thought it was a good idea, and they ran into what you just said. The data entry. Who wants to become if I wanted a data entry job, I would have gotten another job.
Right? I have to tell you that, in my advisory business, we advise lots of early stage startups, and they, should we get a Salesforce license? Right. And I'm like, just use a spreadsheet to start. It's just too complicated. Right. And it's expensive, and it's not a really flexible, technology. And as I've said, I think what you lose, and I was explaining the off camera, like at Broadsoft, we had a massive Salesforce implementation, but all of the customer account planning and knowledge were in documents attached to the record. So like we couldn't search them, we couldn't use them. And so I think this is a much smarter way to kind of leverage those customer interactions into real customer knowledge.
And it's learning from you. I mean, it's like the assistant you always wanted. It's every hour it's learning more and more.
Exactly.
So how's this, Pavel? How's this going to be sold? How are you going to go to market?
Yeah, thank you for the question. For our go-to-market strategy in the North America, we essentially will use the service providers, and it's kind of what we actually found, and it's again coming back to the experience with our enterprise product, which we are selling with some of the service provider in Europe already. We found that service providers is quite an interesting relation with the small business customers already, and yet in some cases they really like the product, which again works with the small business, because it has to be very simple for the service provider as well. If you think about it, I mean, as a small business, I probably wouldn't buy expensive product. I wouldn't buy something which take ages to install and provision, etc. So apart from making it simple for the business owner, for the end user, we also make a great work that it plays well with the service provider network and service provider offerings. So we do have the various method how it can play well with the infrastructure that service provider already has in its place, from both technological perspective, from the marketing, and also from the product offering itself. So it can be as a bolt-on to their services that they do have already, just essentially providing the next and new value to their customers, particularly in the small business and micro business.
So, Michael, this is being launched at the upcoming Cloud Connections conference, and that's at that point we're going to go to market. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Yeah, we're excited to launch at CCA. I think, as Pavel just described, our primary route to market is going to be service providers. It's just a natural, great show for that. I mean, everybody there is a prospect, a high value target. And so we're going to be sponsoring at the event. We're going to have a booth. So people can come by and get kind of full briefing and a demo from Pavel and his team. Pavel has also been selected as I think one of the 4 companies doing an innovation showcase. So come see that and give us your vote so we can win. And then I'll do my own personal plug. I'm doing the keynote on. This is my 2nd year of doing kind of an AI update, industry update on AI. So I hope to impart some wisdom to the to the conference. And I think Doug, you'll post a QR code where people can learn more about it. Yep. And either use that, or if you want to schedule some time, you can just reach Pavel or I on LinkedIn. I think people know how to find me, and we can schedule some time. So we're looking forward to everybody, and we're looking forward to the event in Florida.
Well, Michael and Pavel, thank you very much indeed for joining me today. This is really exciting news. I'm looking forward to actually seeing this in person and doing another podcast there in St. Petersburg. For everybody, we're going to be having the St. Petersburg conference, Cloud Connections Conference, coming up April 14th through 16th, Cloud Communications Alliance. And indeed, Michael, you'll be keynoting. We're going to also be having the showcase. So you're and no plugging here for me. You'll honest voting. So we'll see. May the best solution win. But for now, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining me, and the very best of luck with this new launch.
Thanks a lot, Doug.
Thank you.